So that's uh, all about text in AutoCAD. Let us now move on to the next topic, which is the uh, model space and paper space. As I already mentioned, AutoCAD provides us with two different kinds of working spaces or working environments. One is the model space, the other one is the paper space. The model space we are quite familiar with right now, because that is where we have been doing everything from the beginning of this class. This is the model space. This is, in fact, an infinite or limitless space which is known as the model space. All the drawings you would be doing here, and you should do all of your drawing in this model space. So, what is this paper space related to? If we can make all the drawings here, then what is the requirement of another kind of space which is known as the paper space? Now, you might be already aware that when you create a drawing sheet by hand manually, then you are required to do some extra work in order to prepare that drawing sheet. It means that, first of all, you have to create a margin. Within that margin, you have to create a title block where you have to provide certain details, information regarding who is doing the drawing, as well as what kind of drawing it is, what is being drawn, and so on. So, all of this information also needs to be supplied along with the drawing. So these associated informations can be written, can be given in paper space. So clear distinction between the drawing, which is of course the main thing in a drawing sheet. You are probably making a drawing of a crankshaft or a connecting rod of an engine. So that is the main thing. But you cannot just simply supply the drawing as it is. So it has to be put within a margin which needs to be referenced, and there should be some grids present. There should be a title block which gives us relevant information about that object being drawn, and also who is drawing that object, for what purpose it is being drawn. So all this information would then be supplied in the form of a paper space. So here, let me draw some analogy between a drawing sheet and the drawings that you would be creating on screen in AutoCAD. If you stay in this model space, as I mentioned, this is a limitless space, infinite space. So you do not have any kind of boundaries. But if you think about a drawing sheet, there are obvious edges of the drawing sheet. So it's a limited space. So that idea is not present in this model space. Where it is present? It is present in the layout. If I go to the layout tab, what I have done? I have simply moved over from this model tab to the layout tab. Now here, you can see that outlines of a drawing sheet being presented. This white rectangle over here does look like a drawing sheet, doesn't it? It looks like a piece of paper, rectangular piece of paper on which you can draw something. This is the paper space. For now, I'll just select this rectangle. This is known as a viewport. I will come back to this later on and delete it for now. So this does indeed look like a drawing sheet. And if you pay attention to the status bar, you'll see that there is a small notation over here that says paper. That means this is the paper space. If I go to the model tab, this notation changes to model. That means this is the model space. That's how you know where you are, whether you are in the model space or you are in the paper space. So it should be quite clear to you where you are working. in the model space or the paper space. And to get it clear, pay attention to this button, this region in the status bar. You can also click it in order to move to the paper space. So here I have ended up in layout 1. Now here, although it seems like a drawing sheet, right now we do not have any idea about its size. How big is it? Is it an A0 paper, A4 paper, A3 paper? So what is its size? In order to have that idea, you need to set up the page. So you can right now say that it is not associated with any kind of size at the moment, or if it is associated with a size, we do not know that. We have to confirm it from the page setup. How do you get to the page setup? You can write in the command prompt page setup. So that is the command to bring up the page setup manager. You can also get it from the layout. If you go to the layout tab, the one that is highlighted in blue here, here is the page setup manager. So you can either click over here, or you can write in the command prompt and press enter. This page setup manager window will open up. Go to modify, and here you can set the different parameters of this page setup. First of all, there is the printer or plotter. If your laptop or computer is connected to a printer, then you can select that printer from this list. Right now, my laptop is not connected to a printer. I don't know whether you have a printer connected to your machine, but most likely that it is not going to be connected. So what you can do is save your drawing as a PDF file. For that, you can select this option, DWG to PDF.pc3. There is another option over here, which is Microsoft Print to PDF. But this is a better option because it is the default AutoCAD option. That means if you want to create a PDF, then you should go for this DWG to PDF.pc3. It is provided by AutoCAD itself. So you can select that. So that is the printer or plotter sorted. Next, you have to select paper size. Again, you have a drop down menu, and this whole host of papers are there as options. What we'll select is A4 size paper, ISO A4. Let me see whether I can find it from this list. I think it is there. So ISO A4 with the dimension of 297 along length and 210 along width. So I'll select that. What to plot? You need to make sure that this is layout. You will be plotting the entire layout. Plot offset should be kept as 0 and 0. The plot scale should be 1:1 always. If it is something else, and if you see that this fit to paper button is checked, remove that and make the scale 1:1. There should not be any kind of custom scale selected here. Scale should be 1:1. It means that 1 unit would be equal to 1 millimeter. Next, you go to the plot style table. Here you select monochrome.ctv. You can keep it as none, but it would create problems if you have used certain colors in the layers. If you put it as monochrome.ctv, when your PDF is created, then all the colors would be converted to different shades of gray. So that is the advantage of monochrome.ctv. So if you have a color printer, then obviously you can keep none over here and all the colors would be showing up in your paper printout. But if you do not have a color printer, if you have a black and white printer, then also it is recommended that you should go for this monochrome.ctb. It converts, as I said, all the colors to different shades of gray, and it has a better visibility. Finally, you check what is the drawing orientation. More or less all the time you work with landscape, but if it is specifically mentioned, or if it is required that you go for a portrait orientation, then you can select the other one. So here it should be landscape. So quite a few things we have set here. First of all, the printer name or plotter, then paper size, plot area, plot scale, plot style tables, and finally drawing orientation. Once all of these are selected, correctly selected, then you can press OK and you can close this. Now, something has happened uh, which is different from the previous sheet that we had. Here, now we can see that there is a dashed rectangle which has appeared over here. What is the significance of that? It is the printable area. That is the margin of the printable area. It means that anything you draw within this rectangle, dashed rectangle, would show up in your printout. Anything that you draw outside, of course, would not be showing up. If I create a rectangle here, very close to that line, but not crossing it. But on this side, I have deliberately moved out of the margin of the rectangle. The edge of the rectangle I have crossed over here. If you go to now plot preview, this is the plot preview button, or you can go to plot preview from here as well. Go to print, you have plot preview over here. You will see something like this. These three edges of the rectangle were safely within the printable area. That's why they are showing up. But on this side, as I mentioned, I had gone deliberately outside. So this side does not show up here. That is gone out of bounds. It is beyond the printable area. So you should be careful about this thing, that you should always remain within the dashed rectangle. That is, you should remain within the printable area. So anything you do within that, it becomes visible in your printout. Now, the next thing is, what do we do here? Means I can create those prerequisites for a drawing, such as the margin, the border, the title block. Those can be created within this layout. So quite obviously, I can select the margin. I can go here. I would go very close to this dashed rectangle, but would be careful not to cross it and create this rectangle. So this sort of creates the outer margin. Then I can use offset, the offset distance of 10 millimeters. Select the rectangle and click on the inside. So that way, a margin area is now created. On the bottom right hand corner, I can create a title block, a minus 80, comma. So that could be a title block over here. So within this, you can mention your name, your roll number, section, maybe the title of the drawing, symbol of projection, scale, date of drawing, etc. All these information may be supplied over here. You can use the text command to write those information.